Hi dolls, it's your girl Polly Wally. I'm doing something different today, okay? I'm gonna do what's called Polly Wally story time. I'm gonna tell you guys a little story about my journey of how I went from twerking on YouTube to not twerking on YouTube and becoming more religious, reading Tehillim. From twerking to Tehillim. That's AKA reading Psalms, which is crazy to say this out loud. Sometimes I look at what I'm doing and I'm like, I can't believe I became this. But I just felt this feeling of motivation to really tell you guys my journey, because people always ask me how I became more religious. I was actually raised as a J4J, which a lot of people don't know what that is. Basically, both of my parents are Jewish and they just got a little bit lost, I guess, and they went to church in their 20s. And then they literally got knocked up with me, and my mom manipulated my dad into marrying her. I found a letter later on, finding this letter about my mom just saying to my dad, guilt tripping him. So anyways, they just raised me in church. So I'm fully Jewish, both my parents are Jewish, but I was raised in this evangelical Presbyterian church that I literally hated. I hated going. My dad was very forceful with it. The only thing I seriously I swear to you, was the donuts. That is the only thing I liked about going to this church. It was an evangelical Presbyterian church. And yeah, all my good memories about the church are literally revolved around food. Literally. So anyways, though, I didn't grow up around Jews. So I didn't have friends that were Jewish until I was in high school. The only friends I had were Jewish were my Jews for Jesus friends. So I literally would go to Jews for Jesus camp every summer, starting at the age of 9. So really before the age of 9, I don't really have memories of any Jewish friends. I'm telling you, all my friends were Catholic and Christian. You know what's so funny to me is everyone these days is so obsessed with racism and all this stuff. And when I was a kid, I didn't think about it at all. I had this friend, Roxanne, and she was half Mexican, but I never thought that's my Mexican friend, Roxanne. I just thought that's my crazy friend, Roxanne, that carries around the Chucky doll, watches WWE. Anyways, so I had all these Catholic and Christian friends, and then I actually loved going to Jews for Jesus because I loved to hang out with the Jews, because I just felt this feeling of belonging and first off, they were funnier, and I just felt they're my people. So people that are Jewish, because now I'm in the Orthodox world, people that are Orthodox, when I tell them I was raised as a Jew for Jesus, they're just very much always, how did you get out of that cult? But I didn't think of it as a cult. I'm telling you, they literally taught me how to horseback ride and rock climb and archery. I have a lot of good memories. The only bad memory I have with them really is I used to hand out Jews for Jesus pamphlets. They called them tracts in New York City when I was a kid. And one time this Hasidic Jew, which is the one with the big tall hat and the curls, this guy, he yelled out at me, and I was 12 years old, and he yelled out at me, "You're not a real Jew," which really traumatized me, because I was wait, I'm not. And I wrote a whole song about this later on in my life called "I'm a Real Jew." Anyways, though, I was scared. After that experience, I was terrified of Orthodox Jews. I thought they were all gonna yell at me and be mad at me. So now, even when I tell them that because I'm around all them now, I tell them I was raised as a Jew for Jesus, I'm always a little bit scared of what they're gonna say. Because there's still that feeling of oh my God, please don't yell at me. Anyways, though, so basically though, I said I was raised around all these Christians and Catholics. I grew up going to this evangelical Presbyterian church. My dad was so Christian, he would be oh, go try out other churches, go try out the Catholics. But it was never go try out a synagogue, never in my life. Even though I'm literally Jewish, it was never encouraged. We celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. Oh yeah, baby, that's the bonus. Haters out there, I got both, baby. My dad was cheap, so he didn't go all out with the Christmas thing. I always wanted him to get lights on the house, and he was it's a waste of electricity. Anyways, so this is my story of how I literally became this Jews for Jesus. I never did anything, to not even knowing what anything was, Judaism was, to now keeping Shabbat. But I'm going to tell you little bullet points of how I became to where I'm at now. So basically, I was raised in this world, grew up in this world, and then I became an adult, and like I was like, ugh. I got out of it all. Like I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. Sometimes I would wander in churches when I was in my 20s, but like I really was not so passionate about it. I never, even now, I'm not like super like into all the like the religious stuff around. They call it the Torah and the Bible, like all that stuff. I never really like connected to, but I wandered out of it when I was older. And then my dad died in 2018. Crazy story. My dad like literally died the night the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which is like exactly what he prayed for. We didn't know he was gonna die. He had a bypass surgery and he was like healing from it, but we didn't know he was gonna just drop dead. And anyways, he was like saying to me like all he wanted to see was when the Eagles win the Super Bowl. And I swear to you, he literally saw the Eagles win the Super Bowl and die that night. I swear to you. I wrote a song about it too. It's called Dead Dad Club. Anyways, so after my dad died, I think I like subconsciously, I waited till he died to explore Judaism or something. Because once he died, I think I was just like searching, you know, I think I was looking for a search. So I like searched up like free synagogues near me, and I wandered into this synagogue called Chabad, which if anyone doesn't know, Chabad is like the most accepting, loving of all the Jews, like I would say not all the Jews, but like all the Orthodox synagogues, they're like known to be like the most accepting. Like they take everyone. They just want all the people in there, all the Jews, all the wannabe Jews, whatever. So I wandered in there, I became cool with the rabbi, and he really encouraged me to go on Birthright, which if anyone doesn't know, is a free trip for Jews to go to Israel. Oh yeah, we love free stuff, baby. And I applied for Birthright multiple times before this and literally did not get accepted. And I realized later it's because they found out like I was a Jew for Jesus. They're like hardcore against that. They just don't want people like prophesizing to the Jewish people to turn them back, which I didn't understand until I was older, why Jewish people don't like Jews. Like, why did I get yelled by this Hasidic Jew? I didn't understand until later, because they literally like, there's a lot of like history around Christians persecuting Jews to make them pretend to not be Jewish. And they had to pretend like a lot of history to survive. So there's a lot of history around that. That's why they're like defensive about it and stuff, which I get now. So I applied for Birthright again. This is in 2019. And then I told them, listen, I was raised as a Jews for Jesus, but I don't do it anymore. Like I even wrote a song about it called I'm a Real Jew, and I sent them the video. They loved it. And they literally like had to do so much to get me on the trip. Like they had to talk to the rabbi. They had to talk to my uncle, who's literally an atheist, but Jewish. And I get on the trip. I go to Israel. I'm on my trip. I find out there's a girl on the trip who's a convert, and she's marrying a Mexican that's not even Jewish. And I was so upset. I was like, I did so much to get on this trip, and you're not even really a Jew, and you did nothing. You just like converted, and that's it. Anyways, so I loved Israel so much. I literally was twerking. It's so funny. This is how different I am now. I was twerking at the club, and the rabbi was there somewhere in the back of the club. And I'm thinking, damn, I would never do that now and feel comfortable to twerk in front of a rabbi. That's how much like I'm wearing short shorts. I didn't care. I'm the opposite now. Like seriously, I would feel so weird to be like literally my rabbi. And I lived in Studio City, California. And my rabbi, shout out Rabbi Beidelman, he's the rabbi of the Chabad there. Literally, like one time I saw him in the neighborhood that it was like on Shabbat. I was walking. He didn't see me, but I was walking and I saw him, and I was in shorts and no bra. I literally hid in a bush because I didn't want him to see me. Like that's how much I've changed. So anyways, I was in love with Israelis. I fell in love with Israelis, obsessed with Israelis. And that's what got me more religious after I went to Israel. Because I was like, oh wow. I was dating on and off this Goy guy. And Goy is non-Jew, which I love to say now because I didn't know that word until literally 7 years ago. And so I say all these things that I didn't know, I'm chosen, baby. I love when people say anti-Semitic things to me because I'm like, oh my God, I never heard this before. I didn't grow up hearing anti-Semitic things. So, oh my God, you think I'm chosen? Yes, love it. So I was dating this Goy boy, which is so funny because I was obsessed with him and wanted to be in a relationship with him. And before I went to Israel, I was trying to really push it with him, and it was not happening. And my cat is biting my foot. And literally, before I went to Israel, I got him to say he loved me, but I really manipulated him into saying he loved me. And then I come back from the trip and I find out he has a girlfriend. And I'm so heartbroken. And I'm like, fuck these goys. I'm like, no more goy boys. So funny because now I'm like friends with his ex-girlfriend now, but like I used to hate her and like stalked her and stuff. Anyways, it's so funny how life works because you like there's things you obsess about and then you're like so heartbroken about them and then they like literally change and you're like so happy they changed. My cat is rubbing against the cord. I'm like, don't do that, baby girl. Anyways, so I started dating Israelis and I'm obsessed with them because they're so hot and they're telling me all these things. They're like, holy, I'm like, holy moly, no more lobster ravioli. So I stopped eating like lobster, like all these things that are not kosher, which is like a lot of food. So I'm not going to get into it, but basically, you know, no more bacon, all these things I stopped eating just because these hot Israelis were telling me I'm so holy. And I just like was like, whatever you say, hottie patati, hatik. Anyways, so that's how I started becoming more kosher. And like I started going to this all Israeli Shabbat. It was like all Israelis, but they were like all fresh off the boat. I didn't realize later, at the time I realized later that like I would date these Israelis that I'd meet there and they just like wanted green cards from me, but I didn't know, but because they were just so charming and they'd be like, just so like after 3 weeks, like, Polly, I can see myself marrying you. And I'm just like, what? I just met you. And then I realized, oh, they just want green cards. Like they want to marry me. It's like, oh my gosh. And it happened to me a few times and I was like so tainted. I still love Israelis though, but I'm still traumatized. I'm like very careful. Like when I meet them, like how long have you been in the US? You have a citizenship? Like I ask these questions right away if I'm going to consider dating them for eventually marriage. Because that's all I'm doing is dating for marriage, baby. Anyways, so I'm dating these guys. It's like whatever. It's not going anywhere, but I'm still getting like into the Shabbat thing. That's what I started doing. I start going to Shabbat every single week and I love it. I love Shabbat. Like that's what I started to do. That was like the first thing and then the kosher thing a little bit. And then this is where it gets real. I'm getting vulnerable with you guys. I'm here to get real with you. This is a new thing for me. So people always ask me though, like why I became more like orthodox, religious, which I don't like label myself. I'm like very like spiritual hippie-ish. Don't put a label on me, baby. I can do what I want. But I would say like I'm more observant. So I do like more religious things like keeping Shabbat. The way I got to keep Shabbat is really because a lot of stuff hit the fan for me. I've been pursuing comedy for many years and I got on this show that was like the biggest show for me. It was the biggest thing I've ever done. It's called Wild and Out. I got chosen to audition. It was like 12 comedians out of like thousands of auditions. They chose like, I think it was 12 of us and they flew us out to Atlanta and we auditioned in like a 5-day workshop. I was obsessed with being on this show, like obsessed. It's a show, by the way, if you don't know, it's like we're comedians, they're funny comedians, they like, and they're not all comedians, but it's a lot of rap battle. It's a lot of like freestyling, but most of them are comedians. And it's all about like rapping and funny games and stuff, but it's very sexual, I would say. It's a nice word to put it. It's very like people from the streets, you know? It's all black people pretty much. There's like a few white people in it. So I was excited. I was like, oh my God, I'm like one of the white girls chosen. There wasn't like a lot of us, you know? But so anyways, I go there, but I really like don't do well in auditions. Like I really like shut down. I really just was not myself, which honestly, it took me a while to become myself more and like honestly to even share what I'm sharing with you guys right now. But literally, I just like over sexualized myself. Even some guy told me, he was also auditioning on the show. He told me that I over sexualized myself when I was trying to be funny. And I was like, whoa. And I thought about that a lot. It's something I used to do, which if you can find my old stuff, but I'm trying to take it down. I got a lot of old stuff where that's what I used to do. I used to like, even how I got on the show, my audition was like, well, I roasted Nick Cannon, which I'm really proud of that roast battle. Maybe I'll put that in here. But I roasted Nick and I was like, you're not a real Jew. Cause he was like saying stuff about him saying he's Jewish or whatever. And I was like, you don't know how to save money. You're knocking up all these women. Like, I was like, you're not a real Jew. Anyways, but I didn't get on the show. I was like super heartbroken by that. I came back to LA and I was waitressing at the time and I was just like so over it, even though I really like that job. Shout out to Fantasia's. It's like the best job as a waitress I ever had. And I honestly loved it, but it was definitely like, you know, I wanted to be like a working comedian. So I came back and I had a hard time. I couldn't stop beating myself up about this. By the way, this is the first time I've like shared this story like publicly on a platform, which is kind of cool because I'm like working on being just vulnerable and not always feeling like I need to be like on and be funny and like be a machine clown, you know? So I literally couldn't stop beating myself up. I was so mad at myself that I did not do well and that I did not get on the show. I was so heartbroken about it. And something about me that I've learned is, you know, I'm very much my worst critic. And I think a lot of people are, but I grew up in a very critical house and I've always been very critical of myself. I didn't know I've had to learn, I'm still learning how to like be my own cheerleader and like encourage myself. So I was just like beating myself up about everything I did wrong. And let me just tell you the irony of this, which I'll fast forward into like when we get into it, but just to tell you, I'm now grateful I didn't get on the show. I don't want that. I really don't. I mean, I'm actually still cool with the producer. It's really cool. Shout out Niall. He like came to my show at the Improv last month, and it's cool because now I'm like super different and like I'm in like a more innocent place of like my true self. But back then I'm so glad I didn't get well known for, I would have been on that show and been like the second hot, whatever. I'm saying I'm the second hot. I'm the second white girl because it was like this other white girl. No hate. And on her, I used to do this. I used to just value myself like off my looks and my booty and like this and that. And like, I'm so glad that didn't work out for me. Like that was not God's plan for me. Literally, it was not. Because that is not who I am. Like that's not my values. Like, yeah, I'm hot, whatever. But like, it's not, like this all fades, you know what I'm saying? Like it's inside here that matters. And I'm so glad that I'm at a place now where I like use that intellect and the inside stuff to like make myself more successful. Like the stuff I'm doing now with comedy is like, I'm so much more proud of that. And I'm also learning to forgive that part of me that like used to twerk all the time. I have a song called Jew as fuck, save a book, Jew as fuck. And I used to go on stage and twerk to that all the time. Anyways, the point is I'm grateful. By the time I like beat myself up so much, this is going into why I became more religious. I beat myself up so much. This is how I place my value in my looks and if becoming a successful comedian and like how many men like I could get. Or how many men just not even could get. I wanted like one man, but like how many men I could get attention from, like from physical stuff. So I literally like beat myself up in the ground so much. I started getting such bad neck pain. Again, this is something I also like have a hard time talking about, but I'm doing it because it's hard for me. Whatever, I'm doing it. I developed such pain. My neck started getting really painful and like tight, which I've experienced my whole life pretty much, is like whenever emotional stuff is going on me like really heavily, it goes into my body. So I already had developed neck stuff, but this was a whole new thing. It was starting to get like worse. And I was feeling like numbness down my arm. Fast forward, I went to Hawaii that summer with my friends on a vacation. I jumped off a waterfall into, like, I was really scared to jump, and I jumped off into this waterfall and I jumped off really scared, and I didn't fall like right. And then that same night I went out dancing. I was like, I love to dance. And I was like whipping my neck around and stuff. And I got like a minor whiplash. On top of, I already had like tight neck from just the tension and all the stuff I told you I was beating myself up. And so I literally came back to LA just in like pain. And I was already seeing a chiropractor like on and off before that. And the chiropractor I knew was someone I knew. Like she was my roommate who it was my roommate's like good friend. So she was very like motherly to me. She wasn't just like a chiropractor that I would see and like adjust and buy. She would talk to me like very motherly. Like she would say, I love you to me. Like she was very warm. She would hug me. Like I say this with context to what happened. Because basically I went to go see her when all this stuff was really hurt. It was hurting me more. And she's like, okay, listen, I'm going to adjust you, and it's going to go I'm going to go a little more harder on you because I know you're in pain. And she did this thing called an activator into my neck. And the next day I started developing like tingling in my back here. And then I started developing like pain down my back that I never had before. The reason why I like don't want to talk about this is because I'm not all healed from all this. And there's that perfectionist part of me. Like I only want to show you guys like everything is perfect with me. I only want to talk about this when I'm all healed and perfect. But then I decided I feel like I need to talk about the things that aren't perfect to help me overcome trying to be so perfect, because Like, it brings me more suffering to try and be so perfect, because everyone thinks I'm like so confident and cool. The truth is, inside, I'm freaking out. And I do a lot of stuff to get myself to a place of semi-coolness. But like, I don't stay in that place because I struggle so much to get there. Like, the fact that people tell me I'm cool is like crazy. Because if you told my 10-year-old self that one day people are going to tell her she's cool and look up to her and call her like a hero, I would be like blown away. Like, I wouldn't believe it, because I was such a scared, shy little girl. Like, so scared and shy. So that's why it's like, people tell me these things and I'm always like, really? Like, I have a hard time believing it. So anyways, when she adjusted me and all this stuff, my back started tingling. I was like, what's going on? I started feeling like, even here, like a lot of like, I remember like I was in the pool and I was like, why am I like, it's like burning and stuff. It was really scary. And I went back to go see her. I told her everything going on and she goes, I think you're giving yourself this pain. And I felt so abandoned by her. Like, here I just went to go see her for help, and she's literally telling me I gave her this pain. I gave myself the pain when I didn't have any of that stuff that was down my whole body like that until she adjusted me. So at the time, I didn't stand up for myself because I was so vulnerable. Like, I felt so afraid of what was going on in my body. And emotionally, I was afraid. And I didn't want to, I don't know, I was scared. I guess I didn't stand up for myself. And I wish, of course, that was like the regret for me, is I wish I had stood up to her and like been like, you did this to me. And like, I don't know if I could have sued her or whatever, but I don't even think I was in so much pain, I think, to even think about going through like that process. I just wanted to feel better. Anyways, basically, the pain didn't get better for me. It started getting worse and like going down my arms. And I started seeing like other doctors because I was like, what's going on with me, you know? And I started seeing, hey, down, Judy. Cats on the table, they don't listen. Just like my mama, Big Booty Judy. She don't listen either. So I started seeing like an acupuncturist, and she scared me more because she's like, oh my God, we have to heal this before you get like nerve damage. And that was like pressure, because I'm like, dude, I'm trying to like, whatever. The point is that didn't help me, whatever she did. Nothing was helping me like what I was doing physically. I was going to like all these different kind of like doctors. I was getting all these checks. I got the MRIs, I got this, and they didn't tell me anything like major that made sense of why I was in pain. Hey, of why I was in pain, like down my body like that. Fast forward, I understand now, that makes sense to me, that it's like a mind-body thing. Like, as much as I believe in this, I'm still not healed from it because I'm still trying to reprogram my brain. But your brain is like so powerful. Ugh, it's wild that your body can get full pain from like emotional pain. It's like incredible, but it also can heal. And I believe that too. So I'm not giving up on myself, but to this day, I still struggle with pain that's from my neck all the way down my body. They call it like fibromyalgia, like in the term of medical terms, but it's actually just a wussy diagnosis for like people, the doctors that don't know what to do with you because they're not teaching people about mind-body stuff, which is so like ridiculous to me because it's all mind-body, which I completely understand. Like, I literally went through like, I was beating myself up so much about this whole thing with this Wild and Out show. I went into like such a down spiral of my life. Like I just felt like I was a loser. I'm not married. I don't have this career. Like, what am I doing? I felt such pressure. And I was living with this lady. I was her roommate, but I was also taking care of her house. She was sick with cancer. And I was like, we were not getting along. She's now dead. But like, I tried to keep her alive. So I was not happy there. We were fighting and it was just tension, and I couldn't like clean her house because it was like hurting me so much. And I just was miserable. So whatever. I move out of her house and I get my own apartment. Like, thank God. I stopped working as a waitress. Like, I couldn't do the things, which I seriously believe like God brought all this to me for a reason. And I'm not like, listen, I'm not, right now I'm still not happy that he gave me the pain because I'm not over it yet. But I do feel like God brought it to me as a lesson to get out, like change what I was doing, because I was doing stuff that was not serving me. I was twerking on YouTube, valuing myself through my, and I stopped doing these things because it hurt me. literally I couldn't work anymore in the way I wanted to because it hurt me. I couldn't waitress anymore, which I don't think waitressing is bad. It's just I was still sexualizing myself as a waitress, like using my body, sexual stuff. I was getting tips. I was sexualizing myself to get more tips and this and that. I wasn't meeting like guys that were like, I wasn't furthering myself to really what I really wanted and needed, which is really just love and not through my body, you know? So I stopped doing these things because of the physical stuff. And then I got my own apartment and had a little bit more peace, but it was still pressure to like take care of myself financially with more money. And then someone invited me, my friend actually, who's not really religious, she invited me to this Passover Seder at this Chabad house, and they were so nice to me. They were so friendly and warm, and they had all these kids, and the kids were so excited to see me. They were so loving that I just was so attracted to going there. Because meanwhile, before this, I was going to this really religious house, or not, they're religious, but they're Israeli, and they were just, it was more like not that warm, intimate feeling. It was, I just didn't get what I needed in that way. And I was so hurt physically. I was in such physical pain and emotional pain. And I was really hurt. My sisters and I had gotten into like all these fights, me and my sisters. Right now I have a pain right now that's like going in my hand. I don't know why. Just like I get these sharp pains all over my body sometimes. I'm like, why is that? I'm telling you, it's like, I feel like it's being released from me because I'm like reprogramming my brain to release, because these things have a lot of shame attached to them. Like what I'm talking to you guys about, it's a lot of shame attached to it. Like I feel a lot of shame for the fact that I got physical pain from the fact that I couldn't handle my emotions. That's how I've talked to myself. Like, oh, you're weak. You know, you couldn't handle your emotions, so it went into your body physically. Or the fact I'm mad at myself that I haven't become this kind of comedian on the level that I wanted to be at by a certain time. And then then it goes into I'm mad at myself that I didn't choose to get married and be like a religious Jew earlier. So it's all about the way I've talked to myself. It's creating more suffering in my body, because the more I'm mean to myself, the more tensions in my body, because the more pressure I'm feeling to be something other than what I am. Which, anyway, I kind of sometimes go to the extreme with the religious stuff. I feel like I'm not even enough for these religious people, which I went to Boca last week, and this freaking religious lady told me basically that. Why did she become religious? She was like grilling me, this 94-year-old hot religious Jew. She became religious in her older years, but she like literally was like grilling me. You don't look really religious. Like, she was such a snob. I was like, get me out of here. And I told her too, I'm like, I feel like you're judging me. And she's like, no, I just got opinions. I'm like, yeah, opinions of judgment, biatch. But I told her this is why I became a religious, because I like religious Jews have been so warm to me. So I started to go to this Chabad family. They loved having me. I'd go to their house for Shabbat. I would drive there, go home. They said I could sleep over if I wanted to ever keep it, but I didn't, at their house. And then fast forward, I start getting invited to other families. And then I'm studying with this like religious organization called Aura. It's amazing. And they have an organization program called Torah Mates, where you can study Torah, but I was studying Hebrew. And basically, I became cool with the ladies that run it. And the ladies, I would talk to them on the phone. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to Philly to visit my mom in Philly. She lives in a nursing home. I can't stay in my house where I grew up in. My sister lives in. She like got the house. She took the house, and we weren't on good terms, so I couldn't stay there. And I told her, you know, is there anyone you could suggest I stay with? Because I was starting to get more into the Jewish stuff, and I was becoming also more kosher. So that was a whole thing with food and what to eat, you know. So she introduced me to this really sweet family, Debbie. And Debbie let me stay with her, and she had like a little back house. I never met this lady before. I fly into the airport. She doesn't even meet me because it's too late and she's sleeping, but she leaves the door open for me. It's like 11. I get to her house at like midnight. I got a rental, which took forever because I got the, whatever. It's a long story. And I got the rental at their house. I got to their house and she leaves me, oh my God, I could cry saying this. She leaves me like a little basket. It's so sweet. This is why, because I get so emotional, because I didn't grow up with like this warmth of love and just like, hey. Meanwhile, I yell at my cat because she's like not supposed to do that. Come here. And so I didn't grow up with that kind of love and warmth. So she let me stay at her house. I think it was maybe 4 days or something like that. And she was so sweet. And I had never kept Shabbat before. And because I was staying at her house, it was kind of like, they didn't tell me, I don't think they told me I had to. I could have gone on my phone. But they just said to be respectful, I had to wear like what I'm wearing now, basically, which is such a cute outfit. Let me just show you. It's like so cute. Someone gave me this. It's like a dress that someone gave me. It's like a religious dress. But basically, to respect, I wore these things to respect their house and stuff. And I went to visit my mom, whatever. But then on Shabbat, I kept Shabbat with them. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. Just to like disconnect from my phone and to be with this nice family. They were so sweet to me. So I went back to LA and I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to keep doing this. And I was already going to this house that I like to go to. They're really religious. Shout out to Rena Hirsch. She's actually the person that got me booked in my first nursing home. So I was going to her house for Shabbat. And she was always saying to me, if you want, you can keep Shabbat here. So I started keeping Shabbat and I did it at her house. And then I would just like go to this area called Pico Robertson. I started going there. Anyways, I loved it. And now I've been doing it for almost 2 years. And it's the biggest blessing to me. I've literally stayed around the world, not around the world, but like in New York. I've stayed in New York at people's places. I've stayed in Florida. I'm in Florida now. I just stayed at the most nicest family's house in their little guest house. They were so warm. And like, I could cry to you guys because it's so sweet. None of these people know me. Like, maybe someone referred them to me, but they don't actually know me. And they literally like let me into their homes and stay at their homes. It's the most beautiful thing. So that is what attracted to me to become more religious, because of how warm people are. Nothing against the Reformed Jews, but I do feel like they're a little bit more snobby, like typically. Not always, I'm not stereotyping, but I just found that they were just more warm, these Orthodox people. And that's what just made me want to do it. So literally it's such a blessing to me. And I'm so grateful that these communities, it's like really like the Jewish family, I would say more so, I feel like in the religious world, they're like, so they treat all the Jewish people like they really are like that I'm their family, even though I'm not. Like, they're the family I wish I had, to be honest. The way that most of these families have treated me is like what I've desired. And just that like warm, loving, huggy, not always huggy, not everyone's huggy. I yearn for that. So now I keep Shabbat. I just kept Shavuos for the first time here in Florida, and it was so nice and so sweet, and I just feel so grateful. So that's how I went from twerking on YouTube to tefillin reading. Thanks for listening. If you listen to all of this, much love. Now I always say Baruch Hashem, which is something I never thought I would be saying. And I'm so grateful that now, like, where my journey is at, that like I'm really more of my true self. Like, I can still be funny without being half naked. You know what I'm saying? Love you guys. Bye.